Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This is the Ready, Set, Go preview show. This is the show that we do every single weekend for 31 weeks now, in which I basically give you guys a preview on all of the content that gets released from the Regie Collects channel over the coming week. And so we are going to spend some time talking about at a very high level, some of those videos that are going to be coming out. We are going to talk about an interesting topic, and tonight it is going to be House of X number 5. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking about that, and then we're also going to give away a really cool book from GoCollect. GoCollect actually sponsors this particular weekly show that we do, and as part of that, they put us in a position to be able to give away a really cool slab simply for watching the videos that get released from the channel. And so we're going to give that book away. We're going to preview the book that is going to be given away over the course of this coming week. And then we also have, I think, a major announcement that we're gonna look at in just a couple of moments. But before we get to that, all of that, I want to first say hello to some comic book soldiers that have joined me here in the room on this fine Sunday evening. I have to tell you, this weekend went incredibly fast. It was a very productive weekend, but it was a fast weekend. It felt like Friday was just here. So let me say hello to a couple of people before we get going. And there was a really robust conversation that was going on in here before I arrived. So I think I saw Johnny Future was here. He had to take off. I think Rush Die Hard was here as well. Good luck to those guys. I think Johnny Future had to go to work or something like that. So Wayne McDonald, my brother from Canada, is in here. Tina is in the house. Tina, it's good to see you. Randy Snake is in here, brother. It's always good to see you. Comic Corpse is here. Just saw Rush's comment there. So he's here, and I think he says he has to take off. Scrolling down through the names here, seeing who else we have in here. Eddie White is in here. James Tomlinson is in the house. It's good to see you, my friend. Leonard is here. Glitter and Duct Tape is in the house. Punish Comics is here. Bayou Boy Entertainment is in the house. Scrolling down through the names here, there is a robust conversation. Chris Barrett is here. Jason is here. Another Chris is here. Scrolling through the names ever so slowly. Super Honorable Nephew is here. Jeremy is in the house. Geek Freak is here. Johnny Lane is here. Flexer Daz is in the house. Another Chris is here. Ross is in the house. Mark is in here. Comic Book Joe is here. Ariel, my man, it's good to see you. Darkwing Duck is in here. Scrolling down through the names, Wilson Ramos, Mr. Comics 89, Dakota, Joker, Tom Garcia, my spouse lets me buy comics. Modern Sage Comics is here. It's good to see all you guys. And again, thank everyone for hanging out with me just a little bit on this Sunday night. Christopher is in the house. How you doing, my friend? It's good to see you. I think I saw Sully Two Kings is in here, and so is Tony. She Spawn. How you doing, my friend? So it is good to see all you guys. And again, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about some awesome stuff tonight, specifically House of X. And just as a quick reminder, if you are watching this right now live or either on replay, I definitely want to encourage you to actually hit the subscribe button so that you can stay abreast of all the content that gets released from the channel on a weekly basis. It also makes you eligible for the various giveaways that we do every single week. And I'm going to tell you right now, there is something in a package off to my right that you are going to want to be eligible for. So make sure you hit the subscription button. And also, if you're enjoying the content that I release from the channel, I definitely want to encourage you to hit the thumbs up button as well. All of that stuff goes a long way to helping with the Google algorithm, however it actually works. So let's jump into this thing. And as I mentioned, I'm going to do an announcement in addition to giving away a cool book this week. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. So I was traveling this week, and I started receiving all kinds of messages, like kind of sort of Tuesday night, but definitely Wednesday and Thursday. Did you read it yet? Did you read it yet? Have you read it? I don't want to ruin it for you, but did you read it so we can talk about it? Hey, I need you to read this so we can talk about this. I need you to go live. You're about to go live, right? That's basically the gist of the messages that I received this week because of House of X number 5. It dropped and it was, in my opinion, it was major. It's a solid book. And so I want to spend just a little bit of time talking about this, and I don't know how deep I'm going to go, to be honest with you. We'll see where the conversation kind of goes, but hopefully you guys are teed up for this. Hopefully you guys have read it, and hopefully you guys are going to talk about this. Almighty Liger King, well done, sir, well done. All right, so we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about this, and the first scene that I want to show you guys is this one right here. Because I as you look at this scene, I'm pretty sure that maybe you can name one, possibly two people out of this cast of 5 people, right? I saw it and I was like, I think I know 2 of them. And I was like, I don't know who the rest of these folks are. And other people may have felt that same way. I'm not quite sure. But this group of 5 individuals right here are not individually powerful, except for like maybe 1 or 2 of them. But collectively, they are responsible for blowing the minds of lots of people out there that read House of X number 5 this week, because no one saw this coming. And I made some predictions that the X-Men were pod people. I spoke about the fact that what we just saw in one of the previous issues where they died, I was like, that's not necessarily the X-Men. And I was right about that. And I'm actually, but here's the thing. If you make enough predictions, if you throw enough stuff out there, sooner or later, you too will be right. So, but it's like, I got that part right, but nothing else. I don't think I really got anything else right. But that's the fun of it. But no one saw these 5 people right here coming, and Almighty Liger King said it. There was gold balls on the right-hand side. There is Elixir, Proteus, Tempest, and Hope right in the middle. These 5 individuals are, again, responsible for blowing the minds of a whole lot of people out there. And so I want to throw this up on screen real quick, show you guys the second tab. So basically, these yahoos get together around, and they collectively bring together some crazy stuff. So you have Gold Balls, who appeared in Uncanny X-Men number 1 back in 2015. He appeared in Uncanny X-Men number 1, 2015, and he could basically make eggs, and or gold balls. And no one knew that they were eggs until Jonathan Hickman got his hands on them. Now he's saying that they're eggs, but they're basically composed of matter, right? These are basically inactive, unfertilized, if you will, gold eggs. And so he can make a ton of these things, but they have no real purpose, right? That is until his 4 other colleagues get their hands on these eggs. So you have, Proteus, who has the ability to kind of warp reality. So he is using some of his mutant abilities on these gold eggs that have been produced by Gold Ball. And Proteus actually appeared in Uncanny X-Men number 126. Then you have the introduction of some mutant genes, right? That are basically like code, if you will, DNA that Mr. Sinister has in his database. That is introduced, and then you have I think it's I think it's Elixir. Elixir is the one that actually has the ability to to restore life or to spark life. And so he actually appeared in New Mutants number 5. So he basically sparks life. Then you have Tempest. Once life has been started, I should say, once life has been started, Tempest has his ability to kind of manipulate time. And so she basically allows the embryo to basically mature into adulthood. So ultimately what comes out is basically a fully powered shell of a mutant, if you will. And so Tempest actually appeared in all new X-Men number 1. And then you have Hope. Hope is she appeared in, depending upon how you look at it, X-Men 205 when she was a baby, or Cable, I think it was 21 as an adult. But Hope has this ability to kind of tie together the other 4's powers to bring some synergies to bear that basically allow all of these powers, all of this DNA that's been kind of mixed together in Gold Balls balls, allows them to actually come together and basically form a mutant or a husk, I think is how they refer to it. I'm going to try to pull this up on the screen so we can actually look at this. See if I can find it. I think it is this one. Where'd it go? I think it's this one right here. Nope, it is not that one. But I will talk about this. Nope, let's not talk about that just yet. Let me back up real quick. Go to this screen over here. I think it's three. I think it's three that I want. Three. These things will fall all out of order. Yep. All right. So basically you can see down here in the bottom right-hand corner, some of these mutants abilities, right? You have Gold Balls, Proteus, Elixir, Tempest, Hope, all of their mutant abilities kind of come to bear to be able to create basically a host or husk, depending upon how you look at it. And again, as I mentioned before, Mr. Sinister kind of adds his, that DNA that he actually created or cataloged is added to the mix. And then once you kind of have that husk, if you will, that host kind of pulled together, then you have Charles Xavier with some undisclosed abilities of Cerebro, right? And we all thought the Cerebro was allowed, something that amplified his powers, that allowed him to communicate over a greater distance, identify mutants all across the world, blah, 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 blah. But there was always this thing about are there other things? And so we see here that once a mutant host is born from these gold balls, that Charles, using Cerebro, has the ability to basically download the conscious of a person back into this blank slate. And so basically he has the ability through the power of those five and Cerebro to basically resurrect the X-Men. And so you can see here on screen, he is basically downloading Cyclops back into this husk that has just been born because of those five individuals. And there, as you read the story, there's this whole thing about how he downloads the consciousness of all mutants on a weekly basis. And so basically, if you die and you have to be brought back through this process, you will only lose like a week worth of memories because he is downloading the consciousness of everyone on an ongoing basis. I mean, this stuff is it is really, really well done what Jonathan Hickman is actually able to do here. And I want to show this screen here. I think it's number 4. I think it's 4. Show you guys this. So this is the resurrection. And so this is where we talk about the backup of every mutant mind on the planet exists. Once a week, Charles Xavier copies the latest version of every mutant mind to multiple redundant cradles. So now we know what a cradle is, because if you remember, Krakoa has those little stations, and one of those is a cradle located across several locations across the world. These backups are the essence of each mutant, how they think, how they feel, their memories, their very being. When a mutant husk is ready, Charles Xavier injects his backup of who they are into the husk, and the mutant is essentially reborn. This is some crazy stuff that, again, I don't think anyone saw coming at all. So let me pop over real quick to the comment section. C3 Comics is in the house. How you doing, my friend? I will not repeat that on screen, but I will laugh at it as I throw it up there. Xavier literally downloads a new operating system to human bodies like Windows PC. Brother, remember Windows back in the day when it used to come on disk, the 3.5 floppies, man? There used to be like 100 of them. Like you just had to load them one at a time. Yeah, thankfully it's a little bit faster than that. So Hawkeye making a joke here. He says, crazy issue. Do you think it's Xavier who is actually underneath the helmet? Must be sweaty in there. Yeah, pretty sure he probably wears a do-rag. I'm guessing he wears a do-rag between his scalp and the helmet because, it must get a little wet. You must get a little drip, a bead of sweat or something like that running down the side of your head. So scrolling down through the comments here, seeing what else you guys are talking about. Yeah, I mean, Nicholas is saying, again, this is one of the things. If you say enough, sooner or later, you'll be right. And I certainly do talk enough. But yes, I did call Pod People like over a month ago And then just this last like week and a half, several people broke that story. So I thought that was funny. And they tied it back to Excalibur 31. And to be completely fair, completely honest, and completely transparent, I didn't come up with that on my own. There was a subscriber that reached out to me and was like, "Hey, Reg, read Excalibur 31. Let me know what you think." I read it and I was like, sure enough, pod people. So we got that part right, but everything else was kind of like not quite right. But it's all good. It's all good. It's having a lot of fun. Scott saying Reggie's theory of pod people was close. They really are. They are ball people, not pod people. Well done. Well done, Scott. I started reading the comment, didn't know where you were going. Finished up in a very hilarious place. So thank you for that. Joe Chill is saying House of X Powers of 10 has gotten me into, brother. I'm telling you, people say there isn't great content being written into comics these days. This is it. House of X Powers of 10. This is really, really great stuff. So, any back issues to spec on, I mean, yeah, so I'm actually naming off some of them. I think, here's a challenge. So I just gave the first appearances for the individuals we just talked about: Gold Balls, Proteus, Elixir, Tempest, and Hope. I just gave first appearances for all those people. Is there any value in picking those books up? I don't know. That is being honest. I honestly don't know whether there is any value in picking these books up, right? Because I actually have the first appearance Gold Ball. I happen to have X-Men #1 from 2015. I happen to have that, right? I don't know if I would go out and buy that because Gold Balls is in there, because he's been irrelevant up until this point. And the question is, he is now relevant now, but will he be relevant into the future? I don't know. First appearance of Proteus, that might be one that I want to pick up. Super powerful, Omega level mutant. There could be something there. Elixir, Tempest, I don't know. I don't know if I would get those. I don't have Elixir's first appearance in New Mutants 5. I do, however, have Tempest's first appearance in All New X-Men #1. I have that. And I also have Hope's first appearance. I just happen to have those books. But would I go out and buy them? I struggle. And so I would have to give a little thought to whether there are some other first appearances or speculation that should be picked up as a result of this issue. I need to think a little bit more about that. But if you haven't picked up Mr. Sinister's first appearance by now, that's a book that I could see picking up. But the question is he going to have a role moving forward? That is one of my unanswered questions. I really don't know. So scrolling down through, Jess Pele says, major mistakes are going to happen in this process. According to Jonathan Hickman, these guys actually have like a natural high for this process that they go through to be able to create and download mutants. There's some synergies that happen there where they get more efficient over time. They actually are, powered up to do it. So I don't know. I don't know whether there's something negative is actually going to happen there. So we will see what happens. So I'm scrolling down through the comments here. Brothers Grimm is asking new characters gaining new significance in the MCU. Again, it's like if it were me with these 5, I would look at Proteus and Hope. Outside of that, I don't know. And then I would go back and watch some of my previous videos where I kind of highlighted some spec stuff related to the X-Men. That could be a good way to go as well, because I highlight things in there. Like the first appearance of Mr. Sinister, the first appearance of Apocalypse. There could be something there that happens with some of those. So anything outside of that, I need to give a little bit of thought to. So scrolling through, will you pick up all of the new X-Men books after Powers of X? Yeah, so I'm going to be honest with you. I actually was debating this show tonight whether I was going to talk about the new X-Men books that are going to be coming and how I'm excited about them, or whether I wanted to talk about X-Men 5. And I decided to go with X-Men 5. But what I will say is that there was one particular book that I'm actually looking forward to reading, and I want to get to that in just a second. Let me show you guys just a couple of more things here that I downloaded. So this one right here, I think this is 5. I think I want to show you tab 5. This is actually after they kind of bring the mutants back. Charles downloads their memory. They basically are standing around naked, and I'm not quite sure why they're doing this. Right, they are literally standing around naked in front of a very large crowd of assembled mutants, and basically Storm goes through this thing with each one of them, where she basically is almost verifying that they are who we believe them to be, basically confirming for the reader and confirming for the assembled that these are indeed the X-Men that have returned. And so she goes to each one and basically creates almost like a challenge. And for those that are members of fraternities and sororities, you kind of know what that is. It's basically a challenge where something is thrown out and there's a response that they're waiting for. And this response in this case is one that only the true individual that is responding would actually know that, right? And so I think it was Tempest maybe that was like, don't touch me. And that's like Tempest's thing. That's how they kind of, let me restate. I can't remember her name, but it was one of the ones that died, and she didn't like to be touched. And when they challenged her, her response was, don't touch me. And that's how they kind of confirmed that it was her. And Scott made this comment about leadership, how he learned what leadership was from Storm. And I think this is because Storm motley-whopped him back in the day and basically took over leadership of the X-Men from Scott because he was basically a weak leader. And so there's this moment where they all are challenged, they all overcome the challenge, and then they are celebrated as having been returned to the island of Krakoa. So that was, I think, a pretty powerful moment for them to basically verify that what we are seeing here is indeed the X-Men, and it's not some clone. It is the real deal. And so the story goes on. And this is something right here that we actually saw kind of play out a little bit earlier in some of the issues. And this is essentially where the nation state of Krakoa, with, powered up and led by Magneto and Charles Xavier, were basically saying to the world, you need to recognize us as a nation state, as a sovereign nation state of mutant kind. And so they basically said, if you're willing to do that, then we will give you some drugs and some things like that will cure mental illness, cure bodily injury and illness, and also extend life of humans. And so they basically used these natural resources to gain prominence in the world and to basically be recognized as a nation state. It was a very powerful moment, right? Because if you think about it, like in other cases where mutants have gone off and like hidden, they really didn't have any real power to be able to protect themselves. And so they are using here the natural resources of Krakoa, of their land, in order to cement their place in the world. It's actually really, really well done. But they were leaving this essentially up to humans to basically acknowledge them. And there were some countries that were not going to acknowledge them and were going to vote them down and basically put this entire thing at risk. And so Emma Frost basically stepped in, and she used her powers to influence the vote to ensure that that a down vote didn't happen, that it was a positive vote for mutant kind. And this scene here is basically Charles acknowledging that Emma did something that she should not have done. Acknowledges that is a sacrifice that will come back to potentially haunt them in the future. But he basically says, hey, you did what you did. We break a few eggs in order to make an omelet. It's all good. And so this was a very interesting moment here. And you can see Charles out in public with regular people still wearing his helmet, which I just think is incredibly fascinating. And so next, I want to show you this little breakdown here. This is actually a breakdown of some of those countries that actually decided to vote against acknowledging mutant kind, or the mutant nation state, I should say. So it's an interesting breakdown, interesting list of some of those countries, but you can kind of see the rationale for some of them. In Asian countries, it's ideology, political. In Europe, with Latvia, with Doom, it is political. You kind of scroll down the list here and you get to Wakanda. And Wakanda's like, yep, we don't need the mutant drugs. And they don't need it because their technology is pretty superior. And I guess they're like, hey, we have everything that we need right here. So very interesting breakdown here of those that decided to vote against them, or to not vote, however you want to look at it. But this was a really interesting kind of thing that developed here. And as the story goes goes on, it kind of wraps up with what I think is a pretty powerful scene. And it is a scene at which all of these rogue mutant factions basically come together. And one of the biggest mutant factions is this one right here. This is Apocalypse that has basically come to Krakoa. He is the savior of Krakoa back in ancient times, but here he is shaking hands with Charles Xavier on Krakoa. And this is moments after he basically said, hey, I'm here. We are one mutant kind. I am not going to break any of the rules. I am going to fall in line like a good soldier, because after all, you guys have achieved what it is that I wanted you to achieve, which is superiority, if you will. And so this was an interesting moment here between Apocalypse and Charles. So just all around, just a fantastic issue that I thoroughly enjoyed from beginning to end. So let me pop back over here to the comments and see what you guys are talking about. Scrolling down through the comments, I am way behind, so I was too busy running my mouth. So scrolling through the comments here, Chris says Wakanda will need those mutant drugs sooner or later, unless you look at what happened in the MCU, right? Where didn't they bring somebody back to life with their technology? So that's kind of what I was thinking as I read that they rejected it. It's like, okay, well, maybe their technology is so advanced that we don't even really begin to fully appreciate. Shouting out Wakanda forever. Hilarious. Yeah, they are all. And I actually started reading a little bit of Black Panther stuff this weekend for a book video that's going to be coming out this weekend. So I started digging into some of that stuff. So I just thought that this was an interesting time. So scrolling up through some of the comments, see what you guys are talking about. That sovereignty opens up some interesting story possibilities, especially against the Avengers. So here's what I will say. Somebody asked me earlier about the new X-Men books that are coming out, I think in October and November. And one of them that I'm really excited about that I originally was not excited about is the Marauders. I am actually excited about the Marauders because I started thinking pirates. I'm like, that sounds super whack. But then I read this interview where they were talking to the writer about it. And he was like, I've always wanted to write basically a pirate story. And I'm kind of like, that sounds weird. But as I continued to read it, what I realized is that there is going to be some commerce that is going to be taking place. And it relates to the story. That's why I'm bringing it up. It relates to House of X number 5. With the sovereignty that they have just won, right? Where they are basically going to be exchanging these natural resources, these drugs, to other countries for their sovereignty. There is going to be some trade. There are going to be trade routes that are going to be opened up. And these trade routes, I'm guessing, are going to have to be patrolled and protected by mutants. And so that's what makes the whole Captain Kitty Pryde thing with Emma Frost and some of the others kind of interesting, because they are literally going to be putting billions and billions of dollars worth of drugs on ships and then sending them to and fro these other countries as trade. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe this is actually going to be an interesting kind of Marauders story. So it'll be interesting. And I'm actually looking forward to getting it. And so someone asked whether I was going to be reading them. Yes, I'm getting all 6 titles, and I will at least get 1 through 5 of the 6 titles that are coming out. I actually put them on a pull list about 2 weeks ago, something like that. So at issue 5, I will decide yay or nay to continue or to kill, but I'm at least going to get the first 5 issues of all of them. But I'm definitely excited about X-Men 1. I think that's going to be really cool. I actually have this little book. I don't know if you guys picked this up. If you haven't picked this up, I definitely encourage you to get this one. This is actually Marvel Universe. It was free. It was free at the comic shop this Wednesday. And it actually has some nice interviews in here with each one of the writers for each one of the X-Men titles that is going to be coming out. So I'm definitely excited about some of these that are coming out. I think I'm most excited about X-Men title, the X-Force title, and the Marauders. Those are probably the 3 that I'm most excited about. So we will see whether it lives up to that excitement. So scrolling down, I was actually reading some old stuff this weekend and found out that there was a mutant that is now a mutant that we did not know was a mutant that is never acknowledged. So there may be a video coming out sometime very, very soon that it might be interesting to you guys. All right. So with that, let me go ahead and do this announcement real quick. So this arrived. When did this arrive? I think it arrived the other day. I don't know. It arrived one day recently. It might have been on Friday. And you guys remember that there was a comic shop owner that I actually met in Stockton, California. And during my conversation with him, he realized that I was a YouTuber. And he made me a promise. He said, if you reach 5,000 subs, I am going to give you something for your subscribers. And at the time, we had just reached 4,000 subs. And so I was like, okay, let's see if we can make some magic happen here, right? And so we thankfully exceeded that number of subscribers at 5,000. And he reached out to me. And he said, first, congratulations. Then his next comment was, I'm going to send you something. We had a great conversation. I have no clue what he sent. I just opened it just now. It is right here. We are going to take a look at this. And then what we are going to do is we are then going to figure out after this how I'm going to give this away to one of you guys. And so I want to ask you guys to do me a favor. And the favor is that I would like for you guys to try to follow this guy on Facebook. It is, I think this is his shop, right? Grapevine Comics. Is this the right one? Ooh, this might not be the right one. Nope, that's not it. Don't go there. Don't go there. 1 sec. I should have had this ready. Grapevine Comics and Cards. I think that's it. Yeah, this one is him. So here we go. This is him right here. I want to ask you guys to head over to his Facebook page and follow him. Jim is an awesome guy. Grapevine Games, Comics, and Cards. I don't believe that he's on Instagram, but he is on Facebook. I want to ask you guys to follow him. Show this guy some love. I said to him, Jim, is there anything that I can do for you? He said, no, there's nothing you can do for me. But I feel like I want to do something for him. I want to send some people over to check him out. So Tom Garcia is like, what if you don't do Facebook? Brother, I don't do Facebook either. I just literally logged in. I log in maybe once every 6 months just to check messages. So, but if you are on Facebook, if you can follow him, I would certainly appreciate it. It's I think a really nice gesture to be able to give a little bit back to him. So this is what he sent. He packaged it up. I have no clue what it is. So we're going to open it up. There's actually 2 books in here. All right. That's a cool book. This is a cool book. Actually, there's 2 cool books that he sent in here. All right. So what he sent over for me to give back to you guys is Amazing Spider-Man number 361. This is the second print of the first appearance of Carnage, which I think is a great timely thing to actually give back. This is what he actually sent over. And thank you guys for actually following him. A couple of people are following him. Thank you guys. I definitely appreciate that. Somebody said I deleted Facebook. So he sent over a second appearance of, this is the second print of the first appearance of Carnage. And he also sent over the first print as well. So if you are, I don't know, we'll have to figure out whether I give both copies to someone or whether I give a first place, second place. I need to think a little bit more about that one. So here we go. This is basically what Jim over at Grapevine Games, Comics, and Cards has given us. He's given us 2 copies of the first appearance of Carnage, the first print and the second print. So at some point, this is going to be given away to a subscriber of the channel. So I hopefully will do it this week into maybe next week, because I'm going to be traveling this week. So you guys are going to bear with me, but somebody, possibly 2 somebodies, will actually get the first appearance of Carnage. So definitely some really cool stuff coming somebody's way. So huge shout out to Grapevine Games, Comics, and Cards for hooking us up with that. All right. So let me give you guys a heads up on what is going to be coming out from the channel this week. And then we're going to go ahead and get to our giveaway. I am coming out with a video this week where I'm actually going to be showing you guys, I think it's like 4 or 5 different ways to ship raw comics, because I still get questions from people about, hey, how to ship. I have some comics I want to ship. And then I also see all of the horror stories that are out there with people that are shipping comics to and from and books getting damaged. And so what I've done is I've put together a video. I think it's a pretty comprehensive video in which I show you multiple methods for shipping raw comics. If you're shipping anywhere from 1 all the way up to 20, 30, 50, 60, 70 comics out, there are methods that I'm going to show you in this video for you to be able to safely ship comics. I'm going to be talking about prices. I'm going to be talking about how to ship it, all that kind of stuff. So that video is going to be dropping this week. I'm going to be dropping a hunting video. I went someplace to hunt that I've never been before. So we're going to be dropping a hunting video this week. I have two haul videos that are going to be coming out featuring some awesome Spider-Man books, as well as some pretty cool AOKs from some subscribers. And then I'm also going to be doing kind of sorta a MCU speculation video. So there is a character that is rumored to be coming to the MCU. I haven't seen anyone do like a video of this sort before, where, you know, some important moments for this character are actually highlighted. So I'm actually going to be talking about that. Many of these books are like a couple of bucks, because this character, if the character comes to the MCU, has a lot of important key issues that are really, really expensive. So I'm actually highlighting some of those that are not that expensive, because I have those in the collection. So I think it's a really cool video. So definitely stay tuned for that. I'm going to be trying to do possibly 2 live shows this week. Not quite sure when, but possibly 2 live shows this week. And then I'm also going to release 2 podcasts as well. So I'm actually going to be releasing one on Monday and one on Wednesday. So Wilson is saying, looking forward to that. I think he's talking about the shipping video. So that should be a cool video. So let me see. Heard it through the grapevine that these books were meant for me. Well done, brother. I definitely, hey, it could happen, my friend. It could definitely happen. So Jason's saying nice books. Beard comic collectors always ship with bubble wrap, cardboard sandwich. So what I will say is stay tuned for the video, because there are many methods to being able to ship. And so everyone has their personal preference, their philosophy, their approach, and there's nothing wrong with that. And so in this video, I just want to show you guys a couple of different methods. And at the end of the day, you're going to mix and match, and you're going to come up with something for yourself that's actually going to work. So Tina's like, I love the hunting videos. This is an interesting hunting video, let me tell you. It's an interesting one. So yeah, I think you're gonna like it. Scrolling down through, Bayou saying eBay sellers need an entire semester class on how to ship comics. I've gotten some horrible packages over the years. Haven't we all, my friend? And so I haven't done a how to ship video in months and months. Well, probably a year. And so I thought it was about time to actually do one, because people still kind of ask those questions. So I want to hook it up. Wilson says, yes, that shipping vids, I have a few myself, but I'm always happy to learn new. I think that's the thing, is everyone has a method and an approach. So Heavy Hammer is like, I'm looking forward to this week's vid. So there you go. Scrolling down through the comments, I think that's it. Lee is like, nothing makes me happier than Gemini shippers. Well said. Well said. Stay tuned, because there's some cool stuff. There's some cool stuff that is going to be coming out in these videos this week. All right. So here's the book that's going to be given away this week. This is it. This is the Green Lantern number 87. This is the first appearance of John Stewart, the second appearance of Guy Gardner. This is the book that we are giving away. The phrase that you needed for this week was lanterns, right? Pick lanterns because there's like first appearance, second appearance of some Green Lanterns, and there's another, so lanterns. That was the phrase that you needed for this particular book, and now we are going to give this away. And so again, huge shout out to GoCollect for putting us in a position to be able to give away these awesome books every single week. For the last 31 weeks, we've been doing this. Shout out to Lee for compiling that list for me the other day of all the books. And so yes, you are going to win if you are the winner. That book, you're going to get this book right here, which is an exclusive GoCollect variant. And then you will have your choice of either a GoCollect t-shirt or a stylus/pin. The shirts only come in large and extra large. So if you do win, when you send an email to REGIECOLLECTS@gmail.com, giving me your screen name, your real name, your mailing address, you should also indicate if you want the shirt and what size you want, or if you want the stylus. And so most people take the shirts, but you never know. So that is out there for you guys. And so hopefully we can get this winner in tonight and to be able to ship out in the morning. What I can tell you is that it's not often that the book sits more than like 12 hours. Most of the time the book goes the same night, which basically says most people that enter the contest are either watching it live or watching it right as the show ends or first thing in the morning on the East Coast. So I think that's a very good sign. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys, and I'm going to show you guys the list of individuals that entered this week's Go Collect giveaway. And this alphabetized list, I'm kind of scrolling down through. I shut the list down every single week at 7 a.m. Pacific time, and then try to get the full list of names actually posted up as quickly as I can. And so I think I had it up by like 8:30 or something like that today. Had to dedupe it and strip it down, scrub it, all that good stuff, and was able to get it posted up. So this is the list of names, and as people noticed, it is a very, very long list of names. And I guess there's a lot of Green Lantern fans out there because this is one of the larger lists that we've had in the last 30 weeks, maybe. I want to go back and look at the list that Lee Atkins actually pulled together, but there were over 300 people, I want to say. And then I didn't look at the final number after I deduped it because there were a few people that chose to enter multiple times this week. So I had to strip all that stuff out of there. So we'll see what the list looks like in just a moment. So we're going to pull this up. We're going to roll the dice, and then we are going to figure out who our Go Collect winner is going to be this week. So we're going to roll the dice and see what we get. All right, so we have 11. All right, so let's go ahead and pull this up. One sec, bear with me. Go ahead and share my screen one more time. All right, so we need to randomize this thing a total of 11 times so we can go ahead and declare who our winner is. And there are 307 names on here. So we're going to do it once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the winner of the Go Collect giveaway is Dying Breed Comics. Dying Breed Comics, you are the winner of tonight's Go Collect giveaway. And you are the winner of a Green Lantern number 87. Pretty awesome book. This is a 6.0 off-white pages. I know a lot of people really dig this one. So this book is going to be yours. All you have to do is to send me an email to regiecollects@gmail.com, giving me your real name, your government, your screen name, your real name, your mailing address, your preference for shirt size or a stylus, and I will get this packaged up and sent out to you. So we are going to, in just a hot moment, we are actually going to take a look at next week's giveaway. I think it's also a pretty cool giveaway, so we're going to look at that in a hot second. So bear with me as I pop open my screen one more time. So I want to show you guys what we're going to be giving away this coming week. I think it's actually a pretty cool book that is going to be. I'm scrolling through the comments one sec. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. All right. So yeah, so we just, this is this week's coming book, and I think it's a cool book. I mean, what's really cool for me is that I get to spend money. It's not my money, but I get to spend money and buy things that I kind of sort of want, that I think other people might also dig. And so we've been on a whole run, like the last maybe 3 weeks, doing a lot of DC books. We've been doing a lot of DC books, which I think is really cool. We had a couple of reverse flashes in there that I think people really dug. And of course, this Green Lantern right here. But now we're going to go back Marvel. We're going to go back Marvel. We're going to go back Signature Series Marvel. This is the book that we are giving away this week. It is a 9.6 white pages. Captain America Annual number 8. This is a classic Mike Zeck cover. And what makes this book really cool is that it's been signed twice by Mike Zeck, and also, is it John Beatty? I don't know how to pronounce John's last name, but it's a Mike Zeck, and John have signed it down here at the bottom. You guys can see that really clearly. Great signature right there. This is the book that is going to be given away this week. It is Wolverine facing off against Captain America in Captain America Annual number 8. It is signed twice. It is a pretty nice comic. This is the book that is actually going to be given away this week. So I want to pop over to GoCollect real quick. I want to look at the pricing for this book. And before I do that, I actually want to pull up the pricing of this Green Lantern book, because I didn't do that. So we'll look that one up. Green Lantern, what number was that? 87. So let's, this is the GoCollect interface here. Click on the title here, and it was a 6.0. Click on the title, and we should be able to pull this thing up. I want to see what the price is for this book. It was a 6.0. So you can see here that the FMV for the Green Lantern number 87 is basically $200. You can expand it here, and you can see some of the pricing for this book. It's a pretty nice book. I mean, someone had a smoking deal back here in 2016, but there haven't been a whole lot of sales. A couple of sales here in 2018, but not a whole lot of activity, I guess, in this particular grade. So who knows? This is a pretty nice book, but you can see here again, the FMV is around 200, and we try to keep the FMV for the books that we give away here somewhere between 150 and 200. Sometimes I go a little over, sometimes I go a little under, depending upon what I see out there. And it's all about trying to balance, offering you guys a little bit of variety as well as some cool books. So we're going to pull up this Captain America, if I can spell it correctly. And why am I not spelling that correctly? Annual number 8. So we're going to pull this up and see. This is this the right one? Yeah, because there's a Hasbro version. So hopefully you guys can actually see that. Yeah, you guys can see that. All right, so we're going to pull this thing up, and this is actually a signature series. So we're going to change our setting here. And we're going to look at the signature series. I'm going to change it from universal to signature series. Scroll down, hit the submit button so we can switch over from blue label to yellow label. And then on the right hand side here, this is a 9.6. You can see that this book has gone up in value 6.7%. There's been a couple of sales here recently, and you can see that someone had a smoking deal. Someone had a smoking deal here, and someone had a not so smoking deal, but maybe there's some differences in how many times these various books have been signed. But you can see a 9.6 here went for 134. There was one for 359 back in May. And before that, there was one for 165. So I would probably need to drill down on these to see what the differences are between these various books. My guess is that it's a difference between possibly one signature and then multiple signatures. But this one has actually been signed twice. So not a bad book, not a bad book at all. So we're going to pop back here again. This is the book that is going to be given away this week. It is Captain America Annual number 8. It is a double signed annual book. Pretty awesome. So to win this book, all you have to do is watch the videos that come out from the channel over the course of the week. Find the video in which I actually show that book. And one of those videos, I give you a phrase. You capture that phrase. You head over to the community tab. You find the post where I'm talking about that book. You click the MailChimp link. You type in 2 pieces of information about yourself and a 3rd piece of information, which is the phrase from the video that you would have just watched. You plug that in, and then you basically tune into the Ready, Set, Go preview show on Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time to find out if you're the winner. And all that we ask is that you be a subscriber of the channel, a resident of the U.S., a resident of Canada, or have a mailing address in the U.S. That's all that you need to be able to enter the contest and be eligible for this giveaway. Again, a giveaway that we do every single week. Definitely a really, really cool book. So there you go. There you go. If you average it out, somewhere around 250, if you average it out, Bayou says half those signatures were probably Stan Lee. Could be. Could be, could be. So yeah, it's a cool book, man. It's a cool book that someone's actually going to actually win. So Scott says, "Hey Reggie, you could sway me into getting graded books with that Captain America book." Yeah, it's a cool book. I've always really enjoyed this particular cover featuring Wolverine and Captain America. I've always enjoyed this one, and this is the first time I've actually held the book. So I think it's a really cool book. It's a 9.6, and it looks like a 9.6. I mean, I see a couple of pressable defects on the back side as I'm holding it here in the light. There's at least 2 pressable defects. This book was slabbed back in 09, so this is still a first generation slab, probably back when a whole lot of people did not believe in pressing. So there may be some opportunity here to if you wanted to crack it and press it and all that kind of stuff, there could be some opportunity here. Or you can just get this book and be super happy with the double signature and the 9.6, which is probably what I would do, but definitely a cool book that someone's actually going to pick up. So scrolling down through the comments here, hey, that's the only way to win, my friend. The only way to win is actually to watch the videos. Comics with Bueller's in the house. It's good to see you, my friend. Hopefully you are doing well. Viper23 Pete says, "Finally made it to a live show. Welcome, my friend. It is good to see you." Wait a minute. Bayou Boy says, "I saw a Stan Lee signature on a Blade comic this weekend." Wow, that's crazy. The thing is that when Stan, towards the end, people were getting Stan to sign any and everything. And, I think it's personal preference, right? How you spend your money and all that good stuff. My personal preference was to have Stan actually sign books that he actually wrote. And so I had him sign 2 books for me that he actually was involved in, which I think made it more meaningful to me. I wish I had been able to get him to sign an Amazing Spider-Man 110, but who knew that the Gibbon was going to be as popular as he is right now. So, but yeah, I think that, people had him signing. I saw surfboards from Silver Surfer. I saw, pops. They were signing boxes of pops and stuff like that. And I think it's perfectly fine. If that's how someone wants to spend their money, I think that it is perfectly fine. Whatever floats their boat, that's what they should do. So no, I actually have multiple copies of X Factor 6, but thank you, brother. I definitely appreciate it. Scrolling down through the comments here. What is this? Lee says, "I got Zach to sign my childhood copy this summer." Very nice. He says, "I assure you it is not a 9.6. Brother, not very few things from people's childhoods come back at 9.6s, but definitely a cool thing. Comic Crypto Stock pointing out that is actually a 2nd generation slab. Very nice. Again, I think it's, I think it's probably from a time when people weren't pressing, because, well, maybe, who knows? There were definitely 2 pressable defects on the backside, so someone could have not been into pressing or whatever it is. But definitely a cool book, no matter how you slice it. But Lee, good luck on getting that book back, brother. Hopefully you have some good grades on that one. So Andrew says, "Of all the books you've given away, which have been your favorite?" I'd have to go back and look at the list. But what I can tell you, I'll tell you this. I gave away a Blade #1, or a first appearance of Blade. And I just read the first appearance of Blade on a plane, and it was pretty darn good. I kind of regret giving that one away. I wish I had actually bought one for myself. I actually don't own it, and I actually really enjoyed that one. The Thor 165, I gave away a really nice grade of that one to a subscriber, and I actually didn't have one myself, and when I went to go back to get one, I could not find one at that price. So that one kind of hurt. There was another. I can't remember what it was. It was definitely the Thor book. There was a Silver Surfer book that I gave away as well. And I want to say it was maybe a 6.5. It was maybe a 6.5 Silver Surfer number. I'm not Silver Surfer, a Submariner #1 that I kind of sort of regret. Those are the 3 that I remember. There are many books that when Lee sent me that list, I didn't even remember those books. But those are 3 that stick out in my mind that I wish that I had for myself. I wish that I'd had those for myself. So scrolling down, Just Pele says, "I have a Teen Titans book that was signed by Stan." Now you're just picking fights. You're just picking fights there. I actually have two Teen Titan 44s that are coming back from CGC at some point. I think they're in the final stages of grading, so those might be coming back pretty soon. So, comic collection agency saying that Bueller and I need to get together. Man, Bueller, myself, and Tom, we can't make magic. We can't make magic anymore. At some point we will. Hannah, welcome to the live stream. How are you doing? I hope that you are enjoying yourself. Scrolling down through the comments here, a lot of first time people here, which I think is really, really great. So Voodoo is saying, I just bought a press. Can't wait to experiment with different books. The Captain America book is one that he's actually going to press. It doesn't have color breaks, but ripples all over. Yeah, the thing is with all of this pressing stuff, the cleaning stuff, whatever it is, start slow. Work on books that don't really matter. Get down, your technique, your approach. Every book you press, take notes on like what you did, how you did it, how long it was in the press, how long it was in the moisture bath. All of those notes that you take will actually give you a leg up and will help you to get better and better a lot faster, because you're not trying to remember what you did, but you have your notes to reflect upon. And that's actually how I was able to get my process down so quickly. Was I literally took notes on everything, put it in the press or put it in the moisture bath at this time, took it out at this time. This is how it looked, right? So I kind of took notes. This is what I did. I used 2 of these. I did 3 of these. I kept notes on all of that stuff. And then I would go back and I would reflect upon it once it finally finished the process. What did it look like in the beginning? What did it look at the end? What did I do? What should I tweak? And I would tweak one variable at a time in order to improve the outcome. And that way I kind of knew, what it was that I needed to kind of adjust. And so have fun, man. I think that's one of the great things that goes with this hobby, is that the cleaning and pressing aspect is just another aspect of the hobby that can be enjoyed. And so that's kind of how I look at it. Saves me a whole lot of money as well. Hawkeye is asking, how do I choose the books? It's sometimes super random, right? Sometimes I literally just pop open eBay and I look at what CGC books are actually about to end the soonest. So I'll look at those things that are basically, that are being offered up. And sometimes it's just based upon time. Sometimes I'll bid on something if no one else is bidding. Sometimes I will see and hear things out there that people are really excited about, like new characters or an old character, or just kind of listening for the rhythms of like the community. And I sometimes will pick books just based upon rhythms. Sometimes I pick books that I just like. Sometimes I'm like, you know what? I just think this is a cool book. And so I look for that book and try to find it. One of the biggest things is that I'm always trying to look at the fact that I need to buy basically 1 book per month, and I want to buy one time, right? So I try to buy 1 book per week. So basically 4 books all at the same time. And I try to be smart about, can I buy all of these books from one seller? That way I cut down on my shipping versus 4 separate and basically have extra shipping, which eats into what I'm able to actually buy, right? Because every shipping to and from reduces the amount of spend that I have. So I'm always trying to look for like that balance, right? And so I'll find sellers that are selling multiple books, and if those books are right at FMV, then I kind of go after it. And so it's a mixture of different things that I'm trying to blend together to make magic happen. But my goal is to always stay kind of within that range of 150 to 250 bucks. Because I'm, contractually obligated to do so, but there is a method to the madness. And so I try to pick up books that I think people will be excited about, that people will enjoy. I try to mix up what I'm doing. So if I'm doing a lot of Marvel, I'll go DC. If I haven't done a horror book, I'll try to do something like that. I just want to keep it fun and engaging for folks. So I kind of play around. So scrolling down through some of the comments here, Lord is saying that he actually wants to get into pressing. It is out there, brother. It is out there. When you're ready, it'll be there. Matthew is picking up ASM 56 and 64. Congratulations on picking those up. Sully 2 Kings. Thank you, brother. I definitely appreciate that. I'm going to tell you, Chevy Chase is one of my favorite actors from my childhood, man. I think that the Griswold family, I think Chevy Chase is hilarious. I absolutely love him. So he would have made a great Gibbon, great Martin Blank back in the day. So Hannah says, thanks. My partner is watching as well. It's a time killer, or the difference in time with the UK is a killer. I respect it, and I appreciate you guys hanging out with me over there in the UK. So definitely appreciate that. So I'm way behind on comments. Wayne, it is good to see you, my friend. Thank you for stopping by. Get some rest, and I will probably talk to you at some point this week. Scrolling through the comments here. Yeah, so Comic Collection Agency, he has provided us with some materials that are literally sitting here on my desk because I actually need to record a video. We're actually going to do a Spider-Man related giveaway at some point. What I'm trying to balance, of course, is the Go Collect giveaway that I need to do, the 5,000 subscriber giveaway that I needed to do, right? Because I want to keep it in close proximity to the 5,000 mark. So I need to do that one, but then I also have your giveaway. And so I'm trying to find that balance, but I read your response. I think I was traveling at the time that you got back to me. So we're definitely going to do it. I have to figure out the timing. It could be next week before I'm able to get to it, but we are definitely going to do it. And it's going to be awesome. I am primarily on eBay. Do I use eBay or auction houses to buy and sell? So when I buy books for the Go Collect giveaway, it is always on eBay. I actually bought my first book from an auction 2 weeks ago, and the book has not yet arrived, and that's freaking me out just a little bit. So I'll be calling the auction house tomorrow. It's a pretty cool book, though. I'll tell you that. That book, as soon as it comes, that'll be a live stream that I do because it's a pretty dope book. That is actually my first purchase through an auction house. So I'll actually be doing that one. Hopefully the book will come this week. Fingers crossed. And I'll be able to show you guys that. But most of my buying for the show is done through eBay. Most of my personal buying is actually done in person. And the reason for that is that with the show, I need to purchase at least 4 books a month. I want to do it kind of all at once, and I need to be able to play with the numbers to make sure that I can be within that range, within that budget for the show based upon the sponsorship. And so it's much easier to do that from eBay than to actually try to drive around to stores. That is just chaos. So I do it all through eBay. So hopefully that answers the question here. How do you determine the FMV for a book that has no sales data? It's actually a really good question. So the vast majority of books that I actually purchase actually do have sales data. So either the book has a declared FMV on the Go Collect website, or you're able to actually see the recent sales to kind of sort of be able to triangulate what the going prices are. And so with Go Collect, they actually show you the individual sales, the date of those sales, as well as how much that book costs. And then I think you can drill down and actually go look at that individual transaction. So it's a great way to kind of triangulate. Vast majority of books out there probably have sales data. If it's a newer book that doesn't have sales data, because that also happens, like some of the variants, for example, that haven't really been sold beyond their initial sales, where they are, exclusive offerings and things like that, you sometimes have to guess. You literally have to just guess, right? So what I'll sometimes do is if there is a virgin and they have a price for the trade, I will assume what the cost is for the virgin based upon the price of the trade. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just the best that I can do. The other great thing is that Go Collect actually has a feature on the website called the modeler. And I have not dug into this feature at all, but this modeler that they have is actually designed to answer that very question that you just asked. And so let me see if I can even find this thing, because it's not something that I use all that often. So I'm not even quite sure where it is, to be honest with you. I actually have to find it because I don't see it on here. But the modeler that Go Collect actually offers gives you the ability to figure out what a price for a comic would be if there hasn't been any recent sales for that book. And I think it has the ability to look at past sales and to make some logical conclusions based upon present day, what the value of that book might be. And so you have to probably spend a lot more time on the GoCollect website playing around with this modeler to see how it works, because I have not dug into that. So hopefully Viper 23 Pete, that helps a little bit with your question. Certainly, if it doesn't, reach out to me on Instagram and we can have a much longer conversation, and maybe I can come up with a better answer than the one that I just gave you. All right. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. Toy Crush 78. How you doing? It's good to see you guys. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me a little bit. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you are just joining, we spent some time making some announcements, showing some really cool books, giving away some really cool books. So you probably want to go back and watch it, because we had a great discussion about House of X #5. I actually showed the book that is going to be given away as part of the 5,000 subscriber giveaway. But I will show you the one book that we are actually going to be giving away this coming week. This is the book right here. It is Captain America Annual number 8. It is a 9.6 white pages that is double signed. This is the GoCollect book that is going to be given away this week. All you have to do is watch the videos that come out from the channel, find the video in which I talk about this book, and then you can be the winner. And what I will say, if someone is hearing enabled and is unable to get the translation of this particular video, or the video in which I give the phrase, all they have to do is to send me a message. I will give them the phrase. If they find the video with the book being given away, I will give them the phrase, and that is for anyone that is hearing impaired. And the reason for that is I forgot to put the text on screen for this week's giveaway. So you have my apologies there. I will try to do better in the future. All right. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me just a little bit. Please, if you enjoyed the content, give this video a thumbs up. I absolutely appreciate it. If you guys need to reach out to me, feel free to do so. Reggie Collects on Instagram and RegieCollects@gmail.com. Take care.